All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Oh, look at that! I love it! I love it! I live for this. So I'm a member. Oh, look at that! I love it! I love it! I have to say this for this. So I'm a member. But the fact that you guys, I usually have to say it on it at the bat. But the fact that you guys, I usually have to say it on it at the bat. So this is reacting to mentorship episode 2 of Freelance Web Developer. Yes, I promise this is reacting to mentorship episode 2 of Freelance Web Developer. Yes, I promise about you. I am Julia. Yes, I promise about you. Headshot. I am Julia. My pronouns are her and my Twitter is my pronouns are because the name of a song that I love from a band called Company of Thieves, and I never want to give song that I love from like you're right. And I never want to give song that I love from like you're right. So a little bit more about me. I attended the coding bootcamp called a little bit more about me. I attended closed, so don't ask me about the except for unless you want to talk about my experience. Don't ask me about the I don't know about Dom, but I have pretty good experience there. The only problem I had was Dom, but I have pretty good experience there. The only problem I had was I graduated April of 2018, and the only problem I had was I graduated April of 2018. I'm here for a junior developer. Let me know. Talk to me after I talk. Let me know. Talk to me after I talk. So what's in store for tonight? This is not going to be too long. I have a half an hour slot, but I'm probably going to do 15 minutes at most. I have a half an hour. How I got my mentor? What I have? What have I done? How I got my mentor? What I have? What have I done? Essentially a partner to what I have. A talk that I gave back to students. But don't worry if nobody was there. If you weren't there for that talk, I'll fill you all in about what happened. I'll fill you all in about what happened. So how I got my mentor? I applied to Brewer's front-end apprenticeship. So how I got my mentor? I applied to. Now I did this by going to Network, which is a job fair that technically every February job fair that around that area. And you need a bunch. It's a fair that's tables in it's a fair tables place in up in Northern Liberties, and it's very overwhelming, but it's very powerful too. It's very overwhelming, but it's very amazing. So I met with one of the. She's not here tonight, but so I met with one of the. She's not here tonight. So I saw with. Correct me if I'm wrong. She told me to apply, and I did. I got my coding test. She told me, and I didn't know what I was doing because I didn't know any React now. And I didn't know what I was doing because I didn't know any React now. And I didn't know what I was doing. Admitting that I don't know what I'm doing, and it's probably really like admitting that I don't know what I'm doing. So I was I didn't admit that I don't know what I'm doing. And the rejection email letter was from Ryan Buchanan, rejection software engineer. He's not here tonight, but he can on Twitch ask me a question because he told me he was going to be on Twitch. Ask me a question because I've been working with ask me a question because I've been working with him ever since. In fact, we've had I've been working with him ever since. In fact, we've had it's just an amazing experience. I highly recommend that. So that's just me. So I'm going to go pitch it. I highly recommend that. So that's just me. So what have I done? I learned React and JavaScript. Now, what have I done? Wondering, like you were in a boot camp. You should know React and JavaScript. Well, I do know JavaScript. That you should know React and JavaScript. Well, I do know JavaScript. That you should know that I learned. Well, I do know JavaScript. So I learned 3 weeks of JavaScript and then 3 weeks of Rails. And I finally React JavaScript and on Rails. And on Rails is very similar in some aspects. And Rails is more of a back end language than React is. Rails is more of a back end. So what Brian would do was a process I like to call. So what Brian would do was a process I like to writes out all everything that's like writes out how a hook that he writes everything out like he writes and he's like okay he writes everything out do everything that I just showed you okay and it's not like he do everything out that I just showed you okay pretty much it's not like he do throughout the process that I just showed you pretty much it's not like Rick like it's just typing on the computer like as you can see up there like Rick it's just typing on the computer like as you can see up there also what have I done we made attempts attempts to look for a job. Also, what have I done? I made attempts to look for a job. I'm a part of an unpaid internship for a job. I'm a part of an unpaid internship for a job. I'm a part of planning on building a sports betting app. And I also am part of the prevention plan project for Philly. So, and I also know baby steps, but it's amazing. And I do feel a lot like that woman there. I think she's a housewife. I'm not 100% sure because I don't watch that show. And I'm not 100% sure because I don't watch that show. And the experience from I also wrote and spoke about my experience. I also wrote there about my experience. I'm going to be sharing my slides. It's going to be on the GitHub repository. There is, if you click on the wrote, there is a. It does link me to my article that I wrote for Technically. Now, this was to my article. Of Technically, and writing about my experience, and it has a picture of me and Ryan, and I talk about like my experience, and it has how I learned from everything like that. So it's very similar to how I learned tonight, but I just want to have you share that and how I share that with everybody. Have you share that and I might maybe share that with everybody. And I might maybe share that with everybody. I have learned that sometimes you gotta work for free. I have learned. Now this goes against the joke for free. So if you are good at something, now this goes against the joke for free. Sometimes you have to bite the bullet and say like, okay, you have to bite the bullet. Employers don't see that I have experience. Let me gain some in some way. So if you're good at something, never do it for free. But at the same time, if people don't see your value, you may want to take on some projects for free. And this is kind of controversial, but I think that get the experience, it makes it more worthwhile on my journey to get my leg up in the industry. I also like teaching people how to code. So this is a picture of me. You probably really can't see this is me all the way over there. So I'm teaching a bunch of people of color for this it's not really a boot camp, but for these classes called Philly Tech Sisters. I did this back in July. I was teaching people how to use intermediate HTML and CSS. So in this picture, you can't really see it, but I am teaching people how to use the developer tools in Chrome. And throughout that entire day, I was just teaching people how whether it's like accessibility skills and Bootstrap and that sort of thing, and pushing all of their projects to GitHub. Now, this was part 2 of a class in that I just stepped in and taught for them, and I got all of the students, from what I've seen, to push their projects to GitHub, and I felt really proud of that. And I also, going back to the job portion, I decided to apply for teaching positions so that way I can teach people how to code, because I find that experience very empowering to me. Now, rejection does stink, but it's a nice learning experience. Now, you don't want to stand out from the crowd the way that the guy from the Rejected short is, having a top hat amongst silly hats. But what I learned about it is that I want to be the silliest hat, maybe that one at the very end, that with the puffer on top of it. Now, if you all seen the Rejected short film, what happens? Do you remember what happens to the guy in the top hat? Just shout out. So what happens is that they beat him with baseball bats because he doesn't fit in. And pretty much rejection for me is like constantly being beaten by a baseball bat. constantly being beat by a baseball bat until I learned that, like, no, you have to wear the pretty silliest hat to fit in this industry. And finally, we're going to talk about mentoring is finite, just like the relationship between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. There, I knew I was going to put that in there somewhere. So Obi-Wan and Luke, I'm not the hugest Star Wars fans, but I find that I'm not the hugest Star Wars fan, and I don't even have Disney Plus, so you just throw balls of paper at me later. From what little I've seen of Star Wars, I find the relationship between Obi-Wan and Luke to be an amazing, like, mentorship relationship. Luke wants to know about the Force, and Obi-Wan is encouraging him. Luke, use the Force, just like Ryan is encouraging me. You can do it. You can type in all these levels of code and everything like that. You can, in fact, he sent me a little message today over Slack, because I'm about to apply for, I'm about to go through an interview process tomorrow for a TA position for a bootcamp that's coming to Philadelphia. And thank you. And I was like, okay, I know I get nervous during these interviews, and I'm like, what I kind of typed to him, I'm like, what's going on? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And he said, just relax. I get so much anxiety when I'm in a job interview, and he said, go outside before the interview and take a deep breath. Now, outside of my house, obviously a lot of you here have jobs, but go outside and take a deep breath and make sure that, and just know that everything's going to be okay. And I consider Ryan my Obi-Wan. I'm Luke, obviously, but I don't have the chops of voice acting like Mark Hamill does. But he's my Obi-Wan, and I'm the Luke, and I know this relationship's going to end because Obi-Wan and Luke's relationship, mentorship was finite, probably one of the most finite situations. But I know I'll have his advice with me forever. So I'm gonna end it with this quote that I kind of butchered from Star Wars. Now it says Jedi, but every developer needs a mentor, and every junior developer aspires to be a developer lord. Perfect. I just did this today. I was like, how do I change this? Thank you, everybody, and any questions?
If you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll come to you.
Ryan already had the mic ready to go before I could even think about it. He's so impressive.
Yeah, Nate.
So for those of us in the room who are interested in like being a mentor for other people, what kind of advice would you have for us, like techniques that like worked for you, or like just interpersonal stuff that we might be able to learn from?
Do I have to repeat the question? No. Okay, perfect. First of all, I like your hair. Second of all, you can't tell my hair is purple under the light. It's a little purple. So my advice is to be patient. Now, I'm assuming you're like senior level, maybe mid-level. So my advice is to just be patient. People starve for learning. Like I know personally, I starve to learn everything I can possibly learn about front-end development. Just be patient and kind of and something that Ryan also taught me is that let the mentee be the guide for something, for what they want to learn. So say they want to learn about hooks, just kind of to say, hey, I want to learn about hooks, and they're like, okay, and just use your knowledge. And one important thing, it's okay to screw up, because you really are there to teach them, and teaching them allows, even your screw ups allows you to be humble.
Hi,
Hi.
So I was wondering if there's anything in particular, maybe pre-bootcamp experience or maybe just afterwards, that sort of made you, made something click and make you feel really like, this is what I want to do. This is how I can motivate myself. This is where I sort of drive my inspiration to sort of embark on the new path of like becoming a front-end developer.
So it started actually way back. Me and Ryan, no, me and Cody and Socrates were just talking about how I shouldn't really reveal my age. So way back in 2000, this ages me. This ages me. So I was in high school, and me and my friends were just like coming up with websites about ourselves, just regular websites on Angel Fire Tripod, the Lycos, yeah, Lycos, and it kind of evolved into me. Doing a fan site for this Canadian teen show, which is not Degrassi. So because Degrassi came out when I was a senior in high school, so that came on what's now Freeform. Used to be Fox Family back in the day, and I was so much in love with putting together the site and having people in like some cast members of the show know that I have that website. Now the show had Lana Lang from Smallville on it. Fortunately, from what I know, she hasn't seen my site. And I don't recommend you looking at the site because it's from 2004, so it's kind of iffy. I think pop-up stuff is still up there, and I don't want you guys to get a virus. And then I didn't. But what the disconnect from there was, I didn't know that what I could do was something what I did back in high school was something I can do as a career. So years later, I went back into WordPress and did a blog, and I also went through I went through a Skill Crush. I think it was like a webinar, and I was like, well, this is something I want to do. So I applied for the boot camp that I mentioned earlier in the slides, and that's in like 2017, and my journey has been that ever since.
Any more questions? Oh, yep.
Look at him go.
Faster.
Yeah.
It might work.
Oh, this is how I sound. Okay.
all of Twitch can hear you.
Hey, I have a question. I was looking at your slides, and you said you graduated in April 2018.
Yes.
Congratulations. I want to ask you, since 2018 till today, how many rejections so far? I'm soon about to graduate from a boot camp. I want to get my skin tough, see like how.
Yeah.
Head, right?
No, I really have to think about this because it's all of them pretty much. So I can't, but I'm not just going to say all of them. So I did take a break to go to work back in. So I worked in retail. I did take a break to go back and work for retail. So there was like a gap. There was like a gap between that where I was working. About 15 so far.
Oh, cool.
Including one just last week.
Oh.
So I can speak from experience. Also being a bootcamp graduate, I probably have about 5 to 10 as well. Because what you do is you start to learn, right? Like what you want to apply for. Like in the beginning, you're just like applying, hoping.
That's how I was taught.
Yeah, and then you start to find like the niches that you like, and you start to meet those people from those niches and stuff like that.
Where do you go to boot camp? Oh, really good school. Really good. Yeah. I have. Yeah, I have a website that like compiles like all of the meetups and resources in Philadelphia, and I've heard good things about that.
Like I've had the educational experience, the programming for about 10 years, doing colleges,
Yeah.
random courses, just never put together into something that can do practical stuff. Then when I saw the bootcamp opportunity, I applied to it. I do have my background, bringing it into the field. It helped me a lot. It's just I haven't found my calling yet. I don't know how front end, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you that my calling came just this past July. Remember, I've been out since 2018. That I think that teaching is something that I feel comfortable doing. And and even though I do work on teams with the unpaid internship and the Code for Philly project, I feel the most comfortable teaching people how to develop their skills.
Any more questions?
Hi.
Hi, Angel. The mentorship is finite. Can you explain that more? I don't watch Star Wars, so.
Oh no, that's not a
like,
Star Wars reference.
Is it finite, like from your experience, more on like to a skill or to a time, or is it negotiated? Like I've been nervous to ask for a mentor just because I don't work in a knowledge sharing job. Everybody's on their own, so I'm not sure what I'm asking for. I don't want to over expect and then get clingy, you know. So.
Yeah. So I'm gonna briefly talk about my experience being a mentor for Toastmasters, and then just kind of bring the two together. So what I mean by finite is that it has an ending, and the ending is not, and the ending may be whether you grow, where you grow so much that you're you're a rock star and you really don't, and I don't really need, and you don't really need the mentor anymore, or life experience, which happily that hasn't happened with me and Ryan yet. So in the Toastmasters experience, I had a mentor who I was teaching them. I was teaching her how to kind of give a speech and kind of perfect it, and have her show me what her what her outline looks like, and it was a good experience. And then she got to a point where she didn't really need me anymore. So that's that finality of that relationship. But she's also on the executive board, and I couldn't hope for the she raised my expectations so much that I didn't really need her anymore except for moral support. So that's what I meant by finite, that there's a finality in the relationship.
Would you say that people named Ryan have?
Can I?
Yeah, real question. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, thanks a lot, dude.
Did you mention that website that you collect all the meetups and resources for?
I didn't. So the website is called phillyresources.tech, if you guys want to write that down, but I'm going to put it in the meetup page. Oh, right. Duh.
Angel, can you drop that in the Discord for everyone too?
Yes,
Anybody
I will.
in the community?
This is my site. It's not built on React or anything, so that I didn't think it was good enough for me to bring it up. But this is, so I made a compiled list of different boot camps. If your boot camp is not up here, just let me know, and we can create a pull request for it. So it's it's right in the middle. It's not the best.
Stop it. This is awesome.
Thank you. I need to move this up the way so I can get my little.
I'm assuming there's only one meetup on the meetup page, and that'd be React Adelphia.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So I'm just not going to show the meetups, so I won't disappoint you. No, because it's in alphabetical order, so I'm going to have to scroll all the way down to R. So.
R comes first.
But and I have conferences, different conferences that have happened. All of these have passed. So, and I've been to 3 of them out of 4 of them actually. And so this is my site. And then in the contact page, if there is a meetup that I've forgotten, so you can email me or create a pull request in GitHub. When the awesome people at Philly Dev said, why don't you just create a pull request? I'm like, yes, I'm here for it. So phillyresources.tech, And if you know a meetup in Philadelphia that isn't on there, just create a pull request. I'll accept it, and it'll be on there like almost immediately.
That's really awesome, Angel. Any other questions?
What was your question, Ryan? Oh, you do?
So this is a really quick one, and having to do with when you met your mentor. What was the process for starting the mentorship? Did you ask him? Did he ask you? And kind of like, how did that just go down?
So I asked him. Because I actually was at this meetup back in March, something like that, and so it's a funny story, which I didn't really get into. I thought he was a bot because the rejection letter was very copy and paste, and it just had my name on top of it. So I didn't know that I should email him. And one of the people at Guru said, no, this is a real person. You need to email him, and he's willing to take on mentees. So I reached out to him because I was encouraged by, it was Ivanka. I hope I'm saying her name right. She goes by Ivanka. And she encouraged me to email that back, and we got started. I think it was either that week or that next week. So it was fairly quickly.
You want to ask a question, Ryan?
Yeah, so I was wondering if you could explain what it is that makes people named Ryan inherently so great, just for the people in the audience.
Oh, because they're not named Dom.
Fire! Oh, bow, 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 bow.
But yeah, but seriously, if you so I'm not, as you could probably tell, I'm not an employee of Guru. I just come here and I know mostly everybody who's at Guru. If you haven't met me yet, talk to me. So there are like 4 Ryans that I know of in the software engineer team. So yeah, including my mentor and like 2 2 Ryans. Like it's wild. But but the answer to that is that they're not named Dom.
Fair enough. I honestly agree with that. Any other questions? No? Oh, another Ryan.
Ryan to Ryan handoff.
Following
Little
that,
R&R.
Yeah. Firstly, good luck on your interview tomorrow. I just want to say.
Thank you.
And secondly, so throughout your mentorship, do you think there are things that you think were valuable that weren't exactly code related that you think would be important to get from a mentorship? And can you talk about any of those?
So actually, yeah. So just I think the fact that me and Ryan are also we can also drop the formalities and just be really good friends at the same time, even when that mentor relationship is not there. I think that's incredible because it's not like that he has power over me. It's more of a even keeled relationship. And to go piggyback onto Blue Hair's question, just to have that power is not going to mean much to me much in a mental relationship. It's mostly like whether you're on the same level and whether you agree with things. Kind of like a low-key manager relationship. Like yeah, I'll help you get ahead, that sort of thing.
Cool, thank you.
Any more questions? All right, let's give it up for Angel and her phenomenal presentation.
Thank you.